Happy Friday. Welcome on into Let's Bet It. Lauren Jabbar here with Jared Smith. This is a very exciting day because we have game 5 of the Stanley Cup final as the Avs look to close it out at Ball Arena in Denver and bring the Stanley Cup back to Colorado. Well, technically it's in Colorado right now. I was actually just on Twitter, Jared, and I was looking at this photo. The Stanley Cup tweeted this morning, "Good morning. It's in bed. It is ready to go. How are ya? Happy Friday. We're feeling good about today."
Yeah, this is your moment, right? The cup sleeps better than I do. All tucked in there with
Seriously.
pillows, and they take good care of that thing. So I'm this is if I was going to be in the NBA draft last night, this is the drip that I would have worn with my Patagonia sweater vest and my Pickswise crew neck here. So I'm feeling very dapper this morning. Not feeling very dapper about my Knicks. In fact, they're not my Knicks anymore. After last night, I'm over. Now, last night wasn't the biggest implosion that they've had on draft night, but it's a string of implosions, and the straw that broke the camel's back was whatever Leon Rose and his posse was doing. I
You
don't even know
can't
what
talk
was
about it too much right now, Jared. We have a whole segment to talk about winners and losers for the NBA draft.
I'm just so upset about the Knicks. What is Leon Rose thinking and his people in the room that are thinking they're just going to trade everyone away? It really bothers me. I'm so mad that I'm taking off my Patagonia sweatshirt and my sweater vest and slamming it on the floor.
Done.
That's how mad I am.
He's done with the draft.
All right, I'm
He's
sorry.
absolutely done with the draft. But we did see quite a bit yesterday, obviously, a surprise for the number 1 pick that not a lot of people were necessarily expecting. Banchero goes number 1 to Orlando. We're going to get all into our draft reactions, who's the winners, the losers, surprises around that. And then also, I mean, Kyrie and KD couldn't stay out of draft night. They had to get in there and make their comments and, make things happen with them. So we'll get into that with the NBA draft. We're going to recap it all. Then we have our Better Up segment, obviously talking a little MLB action, quite a few series starting for this weekend. There's a big one here in Atlanta going on between the Braves and the Dodgers. Freddie Freeman making his return to the ATL for the first time since winning the World Series. So that's going to be an emotional weekend for him. Then we have NHL. We're having our friend Jimmy Murphy come on from Boston. He's going to break down what he expects for Game 5. Are the Avs going to finish it out? Is Tampa Bay going to hold on and push this thing to Game 6 back at Amalie Arena? We don't know. We will see. So let's get right into it. Let's bet it. NBA draft reactions. So let's start it out with some winners and losers. In my opinion, Orlando is a huge winner. I think Banchero fits incredibly into their lineup, right? That he's a power forward. He can create a lot of offense for a Magic team that is kind of limited offensively. And in my opinion, I know we're going to talk about the futures market a little bit, but he's the favorite for the NBA Rookie of the Year. He's the most NBA-ready player, in my opinion, from the draft, and he should have the ball in his hands a lot. And I think that's a near lock if he puts up some numbers and stays healthy throughout the season. Just your thoughts on the number 1 overall pick with Banchero going to the Orlando Magic.
Yeah, I mean, at this stage, it's just utter speculation on how he'll fit in. And, it seems like it was a good pick. I think that's the pick I would have made. I'm more interested in the buildup to how that pick took place and specifically the insane odds movement we saw overnight Wednesday into Thursday morning on Banchero. And then the tweet heard around the betting world that took place at 8:41 a.m. Eastern time yesterday by Woj that falsely confirmed Jabari Smith as the number 1 pick and basically saying that it was set in stone. The 1, 2, 3. Holmgren was going to go second and then Banchero third to Houston. But none of that played out that way. And the market, again, was just on its head all day long. The sharp money came in on Banchero Wednesday night. It moved the market to where Banchero, we woke up, we did the show Thursday morning yesterday, and he was the favorite. And then when Woj's tweet came, it tilted the market back again towards Jabari Smith.
Woj bomb.
It was the biggest Woj bomb in the history of the betting markets for sure, because there were opportunities.
So that is 1,000% my phone, guys. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Got to have a tutorial about phone etiquette before live broadcast.
No, my phone is on silent, but it was my other computer.
Oh my goodness gracious, LJ. LJ's got a lot going on right now. She's about to go on a big vacation. Are we allowed to talk about where you're going, or is that not cool?
We can talk about it, but let's get into the draft first, and we'll talk about it.
Yes. Okay, fine. So long story short, the people who knew and the people that were smart enough and the sharp money that came in on Banchero on Wednesday night, Thursday morning, those were the real insiders. Woj was getting fake information maybe fed to him. I don't know why. Maybe it's because Jeff Weltman, the Magic president, wanted people thinking he was going to take Jabari Smith. He did his best poker face. And again, I've got a column dropping on Pickswise today that is going to explain the whole timeline of events. But it was a very unique night. I was able to get a little bit of Banchero at plus 150 right before the shitstorm happened before the draft, because it was obvious that it was going to be him before the markets got completely nuked. But it was a crazy night. And yeah, I'm sure Banchero was a good pick at 1. He was the best player all year in college basketball. He's the best at creating his own shot. That's what Orlando needs. We can speculate on where the Magic go from here, up until the season starts in November. But I think the real takeaway from last night was just how dramatic the odds shifts were and how much money is up for grabs in these markets if you are in the know. And surprisingly, Woj, not in the know. And that was evident yesterday.
Which is really crazy. I did see a tweet that one DraftKings sports bettor placed $4,000 on Jabari Smith Jr. to get picked at number 3 overall at 25-1 odds. Woo! He won $100,000.
Good night for that person.
Yeah. Great payday for that person. Also, another winner, in my opinion, was Detroit. I think they moved Jeremy Grant, obviously, before the draft, but I love Jaden Ivey, and I love Jalen Duren. I just feel like it's a nice haul at this point for the Pistons. I mean, Ivey has a huge upside. He could fit in well with Cade Cunningham. And Jalen, he's athletic. He has a huge shot blocking potential. And with how bad the Pistons are, they really do need to build that young core, because they're building a young core for 3, 4, 5 years from now. Not even necessarily this year, but I could see, both Jaden and Jalen coming in and making a big impact for this Detroit Pistons team. Do you think?
Yeah. And you want to talk about odds to be rookie of the year. I mean, that's a guy I would look to, because when you watched his game at Purdue last year, he just had the ability to create. And that is the difference between a lot of college players. And then when they get to the NBA, they can't create their own shot. They can make shots. They're big, they're athletic, they can rebound, but the creation of space and pace, really, to create your own shot is something that Ivey has that, a lot of others in this draft don't. I don't know what the Pistons roster will look like at its entirety, because I'm sure, listen, and that's the tough part about predicting the futures markets now, is there's still free agency and there's all these things that are going to take place. You talk about Kyrie and KD, so many shifts and roster moves that are going to happen over the next couple months. That's after that dust settles. That's when we can really dive into the futures market, win totals, and really start to, sink our teeth into it. Right now, it's a lot of speculation, but I like Ivey a lot as a player. I was hoping the Knicks were going to trade for him. There was a point in time where that maybe was going to happen, but instead they just decided to give all their picks away for nothing, basically, for a bag of beans.
Let's talk about the Knicks.
It was ridiculous.
We're talking about winners and losers of the NBA draft. I mean, the Knicks, in my opinion, are obviously, and all Knicks fans' opinion, and basically the country's opinion, are a big fat loser. I don't really know why they did what they did. They do have the ability at this point to get rid of a lot of salary, but it was a confusing night for Knicks fans. It was a confusing night for me. But if they do pull off a deal for a guy like Jalen Brunson or Kyrie Irving, I mean, who knows? But what were they doing, Jared? Just for people that don't know, walk us through what the Knicks did yesterday, because I'm confused by it, and so is everybody else.
Can I be honest? I don't even know. Like, I read the article for like an hour last night, and I still was like, all right, so this pick went here, and that pick's coming back here. Here's the basics of it. They drafted a guy that they immediately sent away, in addition to Kemba Walker, traded away. I don't even know which. I think Kemba's officially on the Pistons right now, but he's going to get cut, and the salary is going to get dumped. The whole goal of the night was to clear as much cap space as possible so they can go sign a max player like a Brunson or Kyrie. But we discussed this yesterday. You guys weren't privy to it because it was before our show started with me, Alex, and Justin. And the way you build teams in the NBA, look at what the Bucks did. They drafted Giannis, they drafted Middleton, and then they brought in Drew Holiday to be the final piece to the puzzle. The Warriors, they get Draymond in the second round. They get Jordan Poole with the 28th pick. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson were not top 5 picks. You build through the draft. And you're telling me that the Knicks, with all of the players on the board last night at 11, could not find a player to bring in that was going to help their team win. I don't believe it. There is incompetence in that room if that was the actual belief. And I'm done. I'm done with this franchise. I'm completely done. And I don't say this often because I love my teams. I love New York City. I'm born here, not raised here, but bred here. Man, it is ugly stuff with the Knicks right now. That was an ugly night.
Well, I mean, the Pistons are looking for some new fans. We're drafting, we're recruiting. So if you want
me to go to Detroit
Pistons to be a Piston fan, yeah. I mean, we got a lot of really good teams. The Tigers, definitely World Series bound.
No. This is an NBA only draft. I'm a Yankees, Jets, and Rangers fan still.
The Pistons, they're really looking like that 04 championship team. The Lions, I mean, this is their year.
No. That's where you lost me. All right, time out.
The Detroit fans are just in for an absolute treat this year, guys. Anyone that wants to jump on our bandwagon, feel free.
You're going to say Michigan next, aren't you?
Go Blue, baby. Okay, so obviously in the midst of everything that's going on, we can't just have a night for the new players, right? We can't just do that. Instead, KD decides to drop a KD bomb, I guess, if you will call it, because the issue with Kyrie Irving right now is he's looking for a max deal for a long time. The Nets want to sign him for a shorter deal for still a decent amount of money. Oh, still a lot amount of money, let's be honest. If they cannot come to an agreement, KD said that he is monitoring the situation and could go elsewhere. Your thoughts on Kyrie, KD, the drama that Shams tweeted about yesterday, everything that's going on, because they couldn't have let the teenagers hog the spotlight. Instead, they needed to be like, oh, tonight's not about me. Let's get back in there and create some more drama. Your thoughts?
Oh, my God. So I think my thoughts have not changed on this topic over the last 5 years. And it's specific to KD and Kyrie in this situation, but it's also a blanket statement about the current state of the NBA. The players have way too much power. You see it with LeBron, basically crafting his own team out of nothing in LA. You're now seeing it with KD. You saw it in Golden State. He left Golden State. He did it in Brooklyn. Now the situation in Brooklyn's deteriorating, and now they want to do it again, where they have so much power that they can literally talk their way into and out of situations that they feel unfit for them, for their lofty status. It's not the spirit of what professional sports is supposed to be, where the general manager builds the team, the players show up, and they compete for a championship. It's absurd. I don't know where Kevin Durant wants to play. He'll play wherever he wants to play. Good luck trying to get inside of that guy's head. Remember what was the meeting they had on Long Island with they all flew out there to wow him.
I don't even know.
All the teams came out to the Hamptons, and the Knicks were there, and the Lakers were there, and the Nets were there. Like it's a shit show. It's a circus. And I have no idea how to predict the outcome of it. Here's what I do know. Wherever KD and Kyrie want to play, teams will move heaven and earth for them because the players have all the power. And that's how it'll play out.
It's true. And on that note, we're moving from the court to the park, where the players don't necessarily have all the power, but they do have the power in their bats. They do have the power in their bats, because yesterday the YRFI's Yes Runs first inning went 5-5 in the season. The Yerfies were seeing a little more separation, 534 to 514. For a while, it was like 50-50 the whole time. Now it's at 51%. Notable streaks. Philadelphia Phillies have 6 straight Nerfies, no runs first inning. Milwaukee, St. Louis just played a 3-game series where each team scored in the first inning in all 3 games. So, some notable streaks to talk about. Let's get into our bets for today. First of all, we'll start obviously with the Yerfies and the Nerfies because you have been red hot as of lately on your Yerfies, and you're back at it again with one of each.
Yeah,
right?
Okay. Listen, this is red hot, ice cold. None of it matters. Here's what matters: your process every day. Stay consistent. We'll see what happens in September when we add up all the totals. Right now, I'm slightly up for the season in baseball, slightly up for the season in Yerfies, in Nerfies, and slightly down in Yerfies. But again, I'm not even don't even really care about the records too much right now. We're just gonna stay on our little process here and try to thread the needle. I will mention that Milwaukee and St. Louis, to talk about those streaks, they just played a 3-game series where all 3 games, both teams scored in the first inning in all 3 games. So both the Brewers and the Cardinals are red hot right now, swinging the bats in the first inning. And Phillies on the other side. So we were on the Phillies Yerfie last night. Got a little unlucky. Base hit for Harper, goes to right field, and Rhys Hoskins thought it was a line drive that was caught, goes back to first base, ends up getting thrown out at second, and then the whole Yerfie inning gets thrown to shit. But Philadelphia right now, despite that really good lineup, I mentioned Harper, Realmuto, Castellanos, Schwarber, 6 straight Nerfies for the Phillies. So keep in mind, there's going to be some positive regression for the Philly lineup at some point. But we're not betting either of those teams tonight. We are betting the Astros and the Yankees Nerfie. Justin Verlander, Luis Severino. I don't know if you watched this game last night between these 2 teams. It was a gem. But these 2 pitchers combined 22-3 to the Nerfie on the year. Verlander, JV, 6-1 on the road. Sevy, 6-1 at home. So these are 2 very, very good pitchers at the top of their respective rotations. Verlander owns the Yankees historically. I know. I've been his little brother for many, many years as a Tigers fan. I'm sure you've watched many of those games. 174 batting average in 197 plate appearances against his current Yankees lineup. He owns Aaron Judge, 4 for 24, 3 for 31 against Joey Gallo, 3 for 26 against Aaron Hicks, 1 for 11 against Stanton, all sub 200 batting averages. The only guy hitting above 250 against them in the lineup is DJ LeMahieu, who's actually had some success, 7 for 20. But the playoff intensity of this matchup is why I like the Nerfie. Last night, 3 runs were scored in the first inning by each team. Different pitching matchup tonight. I think we're going to see a little tighter action in this game, deep counts and some really intense at-bats. So I think a Nerfie at -111, which is a pretty fair price, I would say, especially for the Yankees lineup, is where I'm going here. And then I'll give you a Yerfie as well, -110 between the Mariners and the Angels. Flexen Lorenzen is your pitching matchup there. That's not one person. Chris Flexen, Michael Lorenzen. Those are 2 different people.
That would be kind of a fun name, though. That would be
that sounds like a legal firm, right? The Flexen Lorenzen law firm. So if you take those 2 numbers, 9-4 and 5-6, if you take those 2 percentages and you multiply them by each other, you get a implied Yerfie rate of about 70%. Because again, Lorenzen's been awful this year.
Hashtag math.
And that's math for you right there. And that is the equivalent to basically -220 odds. So we're getting this at -110. Now, again, there are other factors to consider besides just the straight Nerfie rates of each pitcher. So let's consider those factors. The offenses for both teams. The Angels are pretty solid, 36% scoring rate at home. 9 straight games for them without a run in the first inning, which is surprising considering it's Trout and Ohtani most nights in the first inning. Again, what I'm learning here, the longer the streak goes against, the more I'm willing to bet on the other side because these bets are random. And when you get long streaks to one side, the odds shift and then the value comes on the other side. So that's why I think we're getting a good number tonight at -110 between these 2 gas can pitchers. Seattle's offense, not great. 21% scoring rate on the road. They've only scored 4 times in 22 games in the month of June. But these 2 teams just played last week. Lorenzen gave up 7 earned runs against the Mariners. Didn't give up a run in the first inning, but gave up 7 earned runs throughout the course of his start. So again, these bets are random. It's all about the price, not as much about the matchup. In this case, I think positive regression for the Mariners and the Angels in their first inning run scoring rates is something we can expect. So I'll take it. Seattle, LAA, YRFI minus 110 over draft.
Why not, baby? We're on one YRFI, one NRFI, both good prices, laying 11 cents and 10 cents. I'm on a couple strikeout props today. You're on a couple walk props today. I'll go through mine. Alek Manoah over 6 strikeouts. Well, I actually got it at 5.5 strikeouts. I think it's moved up to 6 in some books, but I got that minus 130, laying 30 cents. I think he has a great matchup at this point against the Milwaukee Brewers, because Milwaukee has a strikeout rate right now of 24.2% over the last couple of weeks against righties. I don't know why I just said it like that. He ranks 9th. That ranks 9th worst in Major League Baseball during that time. And they only have a WRC plus of 98 over that same time frame. Now you look at Alek Manoah. He's gone over this total in 6 starts this season. He's also thrown 6+ innings in 6 of his last 7 starts. So with the WRC plus of only 98 for the Brewers and Alek Manoah going 6+ innings in 6 of his last 7 starts, I feel pretty good about him going deep and getting at least 1 strikeout per inning. So I feel good about it, and it's only laying 30 cents for it. Not too juicy. This one, though, is juicy. Graham Ashcroft over 3.5 strikeouts, and I am laying 74 cents for it.
Holy moly!
Strike. I don't know. That's how good I feel about it. That's how good I feel about it. You can get an alternate strikeout line if you want to on different sports books. I think 4+ goes down to like minus 120, and 5+ is like plus 130 something. So whatever you're feeling comfortable in, I feel more comfortable laying a little more juice for a little bit more. I mean, nothing can be sure, but I feel better about it. So he's gone over this total in 3 of his 4 starts. He has a good chance to go over this total against the Giants. The Giants are a little down in the dumps right now after losing 3 or 4 games here in Atlanta to the Atlanta Braves. But the Giants do have a strikeout rate of 25.7% over against righties right now over the last couple of weeks. And that worked. Wow, I cannot speak today. That ranks 6th worst in that span. The Giants do have a high walk rate, so this makes me a little bit nervous. They have a 13.6% walk rate, but I do think he will still be able to get it done over 3.5 strikeouts, minus 174. If you want that alternate line to kind of, not make it as juicy, feel free to grab that. But I just felt more confident laying a little more juice for a lower number, a number I feel more confident that he's going to be going over. So Graham Ashcroft over 3.5 strikeouts against the Giants. You've been loving your walk props, though. You have 2 walk props, and we have a walk this way parlay. So let's get right into it.
Get those pipes ready, LJ, because we're singing some.
I am.
We're singing some sweet, silky.
I'm ready for it
with these walk props, baby. All right, it's funny because last night I gave out a parlay. I wasn't on. I didn't do a whole lot of capping yesterday because it was a shorter slate on a Thursday. And I was like, I'll just give out the parlay. And I pushed aside my 2 walk props that were both in the same game, Seattle and Oakland, Montas and Ray. And of course, I didn't give them out. And of course, they both hit. I'm not taking credit for the bets, but my point is I'm seeing this market really well. I really do feel confident about how I'm reading this market. So let's go Luis Severino over 1.5 walks. We talked a little bit about this game. We talked a little bit about this matchup tonight between him and the Astros. So Severino's been a little wild in his career. 64% hit rate this season, 7 out of 11 starts. That's the equivalent to minus 175 odds. Again, we're only paying minus 120 here. And Houston is one of the teams that I lean on consistently for walks. They are a patient veteran lineup that takes counts deep. They understand the assignment every night. And they're a team most nights are going to get over 1.5 walks against right-handed starters. How many times? Well, I'll tell you. In the month of June, 12 out of 19 right-handed starters have gone over 1.5 walks against this Astros lineup. That is a very, very deep trend. Then we talk about the vibe of this game. Now let's get into the situational handicapping. Playoff intensity. Walk-off win last night for the Yankees. Probably the 2 best teams in the American League doing battle in a mid-June series that doesn't have a huge impact on the standings really, but has an impact when you carry it over to what we might see in October. And I think the Astros, after losing in heartbreaking fashion last night, will be a lot more grittier with their at-bats early in this game tonight. And I like over 1.5 walks at a very fair price. The other one, it's kind of funny. Not only are we doing the New York double here, but it's How can I not bet a walks prop on Taijuan Walker, for crying out loud?
I mean, you
No.
got to bet a walks prop on Walker. Come on. That's just like, that writes itself. It writes itself.
Have to. Walker Bueller's the other one, and Michael Wacha. We've got some great walk names for alliteration purposes in Major League Baseball right now. So Walker over 1.5 walks. This is plus 105 at DraftKings. 55% hit rate on the season. 54% when you widen that sample size to last season. 22 of 41 starts, which isn't, this crazy trend towards the over, but we're on the right side of the 50-yard line with plus money odds because he's hitting it at over 50% of the time. The interesting part about Walker tonight, second consecutive outing against the Marlins. And you know me well enough by now. I love fading pitchers the start after a high, pitch count, and the start after facing the same team for the second time. Love that matchup. The Marlins are not a high walk rate team. I'm not going to, toot your horn about that. I will just continue to harp that Walker has shown a lot of volatility over his career, and he's been really good of late. 19 strikeouts, 2 walks over his last 2 starts. I expect regression to the other side because, again, one thing Walker has been consistent on throughout his career is inconsistency. In fact, 2.5 walks per 9 this season. That is well below his career mark, his mark from last year, which was 3.1, and his mark from 2 years ago, which was 3.2. So I expect Walker to finish around 3 walks per 9, and he's below that now. So we'll see some positive regression, hopefully, and he'll go over 1.5 tonight in Miami against the Fish at plus 105.
Walker, walking this way. Speaking of walking this way, let's walk this way right into your walk this way parlay. That's a lot of saying walk this way. Walk this way. Walk this way. What do we got? Because we got good plus money odds.
Of course. Always going to give you good plus money odds with this one.
So obviously.
I started 1-7 with these parlays, which isn't great, but again, we're only betting a half a unit per, so it wasn't like a crushing loss. Over the last 9, I'm 5-4 plus 6 units. And again, I feel like this is a market that I can be consistent in all year, and we can be up at the end of the rainbow with our walk props and parlays. So here you go. Walk this way parlay. Can we make it 2 straight? We hit last night. Mitch Keller over 1.5. Pirates at Rays tonight. Keller 69%. Nice hit rate this year. Over in 6 of his last 8. Tampa Bay's an average walk rate team against righties, but higher walk rate by a full % at home than on the road. This game at the Trop tonight. Michael Lorenzen over 1.5 at Seattle. Home against Seattle. We talked about this game in the YRFI. 73% hit rate for Lorenzen this year. He's been a gas can. He's had a lot of runners, a lot of ducks on the pond. And Seattle's been a very high walk rate team over the last 30 days at nearly 10%. And we'll close up shop with Dane Dunning over 1.5. They are against the Nats, Rangers-Nats tonight. Dunning is, goodness gracious, 8 walks in his last 2 starts. Washington's not an overly high walk rate team, but the trend is their friend. 8.2% on the season. That jumps to 9% over the last 30 days. Just a little bit of an uptick in the Nats with their patience at the plate. Keller, Lorenzen, Dunning all over 1.5 plus 267 over at DraftKings. Get it while it's hot, baby.
I love it. I love it. And I have to toot your horn a little bit. You started 1-7 in your walk this way parlays. You are now 5-4, up over 6 units over the last 9 parlays. So kudos to you, Jared. The walk this way parlay is walking us right to the bank to make some money, which we love to see. I love it. I know we're going to get Jimmy Murphy in here in a second, but before we do, we have game 5 of the Stanley Cup final tonight between the Avs and the Lightning. The Avs up 3-1 in the series. They're going back to Denver. They're playing at altitude. Obviously, the last game, and I want to ask Jimmy about this when we bring it in, finished a little bit weird. It was like the most delayed reaction from fans, players. There was an extra man on the ice, but there wasn't too many men on the ice. John Cooper then came out and apologized after saying in his post-game presser that there were too many men on the ice. It was just a weird thing, but Nazem Kadri came back. He has been there before. He's a veteran. He's experienced in postseason action. And he came in his first game back in like 8 games, 7 games, whatever, how many games he missed. and scored the game-winning goal in overtime. It was pretty cool to see what the Avs were able to do, don't you think?
Yeah, and I think when you look at this series in a nutshell, the Lightning had their game, and we talked about it too, because I remember I wasn't on the show Wednesday, and I remember on Tuesday we discussed it, and I remember your face lit up when I said, the Avs look like the right side on Wednesday, because of where the odds didn't move after Tampa Bay looked dominant in Game 3 on Monday, and the odds didn't move an inch towards the Lightning in Game 4. Part of that probably was because of Kucherov, but again, part of that also was the Avs are just the better team. And over the course of a 7-game series, the better team more often than not will win. That game was really close. It could have gone either way in Game 4. The Avs got the puck luck. That happens. That's what happens over the course of a long season with good teams. They get breaks. Look at any team's winning cup run, and you are going to find one or two games during that stretch where they get a break and it goes in their direction. This is just, after many years of it not being the Avs year, this just feels like now it is the Avs year. That game, the Game 4 could have gone either way.
It's been the Avs year for the last 4 years, and they got unlucky, let me just say.
Yeah, and in Game 4 of the Stanley Cup final, in the biggest moment, they got lucky.
2019, there was the Gabe Landeskog offsides call against San Jose. 2020, in the bubble, both goaltenders go down, so you're playing a third-string goalie. Last year, it was Nazem Kadri getting suspended for 8 games, and the Vegas Golden Knights' second line absolutely killed the Avs' second line because they didn't have Nazem Kadri at center. They have wanted this for the last 4 years, and I obviously work for them, whatever. I've seen them work, practice, every morning in morning skate. This is what they wanted. This is what they've needed. This is what Joe Sakic has been building, and with that, let's bring in Jimmy Murphy, the Boston Bruins reporter for Boston Hockey Now, because we want to break this down a little bit more. We got Game 5 action. The Avs have a chance to hoist Lord Stanley tonight after the game in Ball Arena in front of their home fans. Jimmy, how are you? What did you think about the controversial game-winning goal for the Avs in Game 4 with the too many men on the ice, not too many men on the ice, delayed reaction, Nazem Kadri coming back? Just your thoughts on the whole thing.
Well, first off, let's just establish it was a too many men on the ice call. There's no doubt about that. But, as I was going back and forth with some coaches and management around the league, and one coach said to me, look, this was after he watched Cooper's, what I like to call a Shakespearean soliloquy. He basically gave up there in that speech. That was weird. But, he's trying to captivate the media and get them on his side. But, he said, that's a farce. This whole thing is that play happens so many times throughout a game. And, if they really want to get it out, then they have to call it that way throughout the game. They can't just let that go and then call it later in the game or vice versa. They need to call it all the time. And this is a play that happens too many times in a game. And when it comes down to it, in my opinion, it didn't affect the play that much. It wasn't going to change the fact that Nazem Kadri was able to go weave through what were pylons of Tampa Bay players there and just make them look like tree stumps there. It was a beautiful goal, and that was still going to happen. So I don't think it affected it. And I also think, people say, well, you shouldn't bring up the past and don't be a what-if person. But look back at the past. Those things have gone Tampa's way as well. There were some calls in that game specifically that went Tampa's way. So, look, John Cooper's a lawyer. He knows how to work a jury, and that's what he did with that media there on the night.
He did end up coming out and apologizing after that. He came out and apologized after that.
I'll give him credit.
Because obviously those loose line changes, Jared, happen all the time, and most times they're not called. We see it happen every single game, regular season, postseason. It happens all the time. Cooper apologized. So we move on, and now the Avs, Jared, have a chance to win Game 5.
Yeah, and I don't blame Cooper for stumping for his team. This is probably, the last real significant game. At this point, Jimmy, it's pretty obvious that we're not going to see a Lightning comeback in this series, right? That's one of the questions we have for you here, plus 900.
Absolutely.
Is there even a glimmer of hope that Tampa Bay can make this a series?
No, it's interesting. You look at Tampa Bay and how resilient they've been and what they've been through over the last 3 years, guys, because let's call it for what it is, really. I don't know about you guys, but just covering the sport since the pandemic hit, it feels like it's been one long season. It doesn't feel really like it's been broken up. Usually we get August is kind of that month where it dies down for me. It was last August. I think I was covering the draft, or I was writing about free agents.
Draft.
I mean, yeah, it's just been one blur, right? And for them to do what they did in the middle of that with so much less time off than most Stanley Cup champions, to do it twice is a pretty amazing feat. But they're human. I mean, I'm amazed they got this far. I mean, they're finally, I think, are hitting that wall, and there's nothing to be ashamed about on that. I think they've accomplished something that not a lot of teams could do, not just in the salary cap era, but ever. And I think that they need to be put in that, that category of dynasties, and talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins or the New York Islanders or the Edmonton Oilers. They're in there now. I really think that they're in there, and people are saying, well, they needed to three-peat to do that. I disagree, because to be able to do what they've done in a salary cap era is huge. But that being said, this is Colorado's time now, and I think they're going to be the next dynasty, and we're seeing the beginning of that right now. And man, as a UMass grad, I love watching Cale Makar, and he will get the Conn Smythe. That's my prediction.
I know, Jimmy, let me tell you. So I live in Atlanta now, but for the last 3 years, I was a sideline reporter for the Colorado Avalanche. And so I got to watch this team closely. Yeah. The first game I worked was actually Cale Makar's first game, game 3 of the first round against Calgary. So it was my first game on the sidelines. That was Cale Makar's.
Oh, wow. So you have a bond.
So we have a bond. And so I watched him grow up in this league, and it's just crazy to see how much he's matured, not only on the ice, but off the ice too. I mean, his game on the ice didn't really need much maturing, to be honest with you, but off the ice too, just with media and everything. He comes from the best family. I really want to see him be able to win a Stanley Cup. That's why tonight I'm betting on the Avs, -176 money line. I'm just laying it all out there. I don't care how juicy it is. You could get the Avs 3-way money line for -110, but 2 of these games have gone into overtime. I just want to say the Avs are going to get it done tonight. Do you agree? Do you think they hoist Lord Stanley tonight after Game 5?
I do, but I'll take it a step farther. They on the Ice Guys show that I do, another gambling podcast, they call me Jimmy Puckline, because I do like to throw the puck line out there. And I am going all in on the puck line tonight. Give me that nice number there right now. I think the Colorado Avalanche win this one. I'm going to say 5-2 is going to be my prediction.
Wow.
I like them on the puck line there. And we talk about Cale Makar there. And guys, I'm 47. So I came in, I started watching hockey, and the Bruins went probably in the mid 80s. And I went with my grandfather, who got to watch Bobby Orr a lot. And so he just, just pounded those highlights into me and all those stories about Bobby Orr. And now, he passed away a long time ago, but now just talking to the people that knew him, people in my family, and other people that just got to watch Bobby Orr. And I asked them, and I say, guys, I didn't see Bobby Orr in person, but I see a lot of him in Cale Makar. Am I out of line saying that? Is that like taboo? Yeah. And they're like, no, he is the next Bobby Orr. He really is. He can do what Bobby Orr did, the way he can carry it end to end, the way he can stop on a whim and turn and just shift the defense the wrong way. It's amazing. And I'm going to give you a nice prop here too. I took him to win the Conn Smythe in the beginning. I'm going to stick with it right now. If you can still get those bets in and get the Conn Smythe for Cale Makar, I would do it now.
You can't. Trust me, I looked. At least I looked yesterday. Let me look again now, because actually
they're not that great odds though. I bet now.
You can, but you're laying $6 at FanDuel.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
But that being said, the Avs are -1,200 to win the series. So there's no world where the Avs win the series and it's not Makar to win the Conn Smythe. So I always say that, if you find that arbitrage in the market, go for it. But again, you need very deep pockets to make any significant profit.
I would put him in as a goal prop tonight too. I like him to score
Makar goal prop. LJ, you've been
I have been betting the Cale Makar anytime goal prop the last 2 games.
Yeah.
And it only hit in game. I bet it in game 1, 3, and 4. And guess the only game I didn't bet it on, in the game that he had 2 goals, a power play goal and a shorthanded goal. Of course that's going to happen.
That's probably
you had some tough luck betting this series, LJ. You really have.
Honestly, I bet 3 unders, and then the last game I'm like, F it. I'm gonna bet the over from now on. And then the under freaking hits in game 4. I'm done betting this. I am done betting the total.
LJ, here's why you need to stop betting the series. You're going to get the result you want. The Avs are going to win the freaking cup. Nothing else matters.
Well,
That's it. That's
exactly. Money on it.
You're up so much during hockey
my
season. You don't need to win any more money.
My take on today is Cale Makar, anytime goal at plus 260.
I love
Nathan McKinnon, anytime goal at plus 142. And I also really like Nathan McKinnon over 4.5 shots on goal in this one, because he had 8 shots on net on Wednesday. He hasn't really had his breakout game yet in this series. And he is the guy that has been wanting this for this team. Obviously, Gabe and Miko too, because they were in that core the year that they had the 62-point season. But Nathan McKinnon is the guy that is the first one on the ice, the first one or the last one off the ice. He is working so freaking hard. He is going to pepper Vasilevsky with shots. I think he's going to go over 4.5 shots, and I also think he's going to score a goal, because he's going to want to have a little piece of the action.
How about all the people that bet on Nathan McKinnon to score an anytime goal every game, and then gave up, and he finally got it, right? You know that happened to a lot of people, so don't feel bad that you did that with Makar. But you're right. Look, Nathan McKinnon, man, I felt so bad for him because he was pressing so hard, and you could tell it was in his head for a bit. It happens, you get that mental block, but it was so nice to see him come out from under that the last game, and I'm with you. I think now the floodgates have opened for him, and not that he wants to play any more games, but I bet if they did play more games, he would go on a little streak here. But let's just hope he keeps it a 2-game goal streak.
Fingers crossed, Lord Stanley
got some things brewing
comes
right
back
now.
to the Avs today. The first time since 2001. Let's make it happen.
You guys want to do a same game parlay for this game? You want to have some fun?
Let's do it.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Avs puck line minus 1.5, over 5.5 goals in the game. Cale Makar, anytime goal scorer, plus 650 at draft.
Can you add Nathan McKinnon over 4.5 shots in there?
No, they don't let you do shots on the same game parlay, or else I would have been crushing those already. Sadly, they are a little bit restrictive on what they let you put in the same game parlay.
Why not? Let's do it.
But I like that bet on its own. It's been hitting a lot. It hit in the last game.
Same game parlay for Game 5.
Jimmy Pucklines, SGP.
Jimmy Puckline. Last thought from you. Obviously, the Avs power play has been phenomenal. They have a power play goal in each of the 4 games. 6 for 13 with the man advantage this round. It's just crazy to see how much their speed is creating those penalties. Tampa Bay sucking wind. They're playing at altitude now for Game 5. How much do you think that, some of these power play goals and the special teams have an impact on this series, and especially here in Game 5?
Well, I think they've had a huge impact, but the one thing I am worried about from an Avs point of view, guys, and we started the conversation off talking about him, is that John Cooper has planted that seed in the referees' heads. And so, the first call that they can even give to Tampa, even if it's one of those wishy-washy ones, it's coming. Trust me, it's going to come. That's just the way the game works. Everyone knocks on Tim Peel and all that, getting caught last year with the hot mic and everything, but that is what happens. It is how the game works. Sorry, that's just how it's always been, and it always will be that way. So, if you could bet on Tampa Bay getting the first power play, that would be a great bet right there, because I think that's happening. Oh, wow. I don't know. I don't think that power play is going to play that much of a factor tonight, just for the sole fact that when a team is facing elimination and when a team has a chance to clinch, they're extra careful, almost too careful, and too strict and too preventive, so to speak. So I don't see it playing as big a role as it did in the first 4 games. But there will be some in the beginning there, and I think the majority will go to Tampa Bay.
I like it. Jimmy Murphy.
Bet. I don't think that exists. I wish it did, but I've never seen that bet anywhere. The first penalty. I'd love it.
Right?
Maybe we should create it, Jimmy.
That's how it always goes, right?
Drafting.
Yeah. I mean, they're payback penalties, and that's what Cooper was doing, right? He was just trying to make sure he can get a payback call in this game and kind of take the weight off.
I don't think it's going to matter, though. Like, you can get all the payback calls you want. I don't think that is what is going to win a game for Tampa.
Yeah,
it's not going to matter.
No, guys, another bet I was thinking of, like I said, I think it's going to be a 5-2 game, or I think it's going to be definitely a Jimmy Puckline game. But at the same time, you ever notice, like in a potential clincher, how the first period's really tight, and because I think that Colorado's going to come out. They're going to want to nail it down right away, right? So they're going to throw out everything but the kitchen sink at Tampa Bay, whereas Tampa Bay is going to tighten up, not going to allow a lot of chances. They're going to try to push everything to the outside there. So I almost was thinking maybe, a draw in the first period. You can get some good value on that, where Tampa just kind of braces, and then as the game goes on, they wear it down. But
Well,
I'm
how
going to
about
stay away
this?
from this. Just a thought. That's just a thought.
How about a goal in the first 10 minutes? Yay or nay? I mean, you think Colorado's going to come out firing, but if Tampa does deflect, that's plus 120. No goal first 10 minutes.
You know what? I like that. Good catch. I like that a lot.
Let's do it, baby. Let's do it. Jimmy Murphy, the Avs are going to be hoisting Lord Stanley tonight. Thank you so much for coming on, Boston.
I was in Denver the last time they won the Cup, guys. In 2001, I was out there partying. I got tear gassed. It was a good night. See you later.
Bye. Have a good one. All right. Before we get into our best bets of the day, Jared, you have a little PLL and then a Pickswise 3-star play of the day. So hit me with it. What do we got?
Redwoods Whip Snakes, baby. 6:30 Eastern time tonight, ESPN2. Our buddy Dan Arestia is sprinkling on the Woods plus 1.5. Feel free to take that bet if you'd like. He also has an article right now on Pickswise.com, and we all know we're all about the props here for the PLL. And he's got a props article that I certainly would recommend. Also, 9:15. Make sure we get those times right. We don't want you to be late or early on the draw there. Chaos Water Dogs. That's an ESPN Plus game. And then tomorrow, 2 games on the Plus. First one at 6, followed by 8:45. Tons of PLL to wet your whistle all weekend long. So check it out, Pickswise.com. Lots of great lax content for your consumption.
I love that. PLL, baby. Check it out. Hit it up. Bet it. Why not? Okay, let's get to our best bets of the day because we are both on the same game. I was actually thinking about doing your best bet of the day. I'm going to do something different. I'll let you go first because Jimmy was just talking about it too.
Yeah, Jimmy. I mean, listen, I feel like the vibe of where I'm at with my play of the days, when we have a guest on the show that is passionate and sharp and talented and smart, I like to give them the spotlight. So as much as I gave out plenty of picks on these shows. Last night, great job by Bobby Stanley getting the Jiang prop under 11.5, just barely. That's the only thing the Knicks did right last night was draft Jiang at 11 so we could get our prop right. But today, Jimmy made a very convincing case. I was already leaning puck lines. Zeno and I were talking about it yesterday, and I think when you look at this specific game, the vibe for the Lightning is going to be hold on for dear life. And if the Avs can stick their nose in front, that's when I think the floodgates will open. And I agree, 5-2, 4-2 feels like the right kind of final. Leaning to the over, but the puck line at plus 150 is a bet I feel we should make because of the likely scenario that the Avs are in front in the third period and the Lightning get extra desperate and then pull the goalie, start, committing guys into the attacking zone, which leaves them a little bit vulnerable on the back end. We saw what happened when the floodgates opened in game 2. And a puck line at plus 150 feels like a very fair price. So the Avs are going to lift the cup tonight, just as Lauren Jabara says farewell to America for a few days. It's going to be a nice departure for you. Hopefully that the Avalanche.
I'll be watching on the plane, baby. I'll be watching on the plane.
Game. Oh, you're going to be on the plane during the game? Oh, that's tough.
9 p.m. Love it, though. Oh, but come on now. I have a good TV screen that is live TV.
What if the Wi-Fi is broken on the plane and you can't watch?
It's not going to be broken on a 9-hour flight. And I'm up further in the plane, so I'm not too worried.
Yo, that was a freaking flex right there. That was a flex and a half. She's got the first. I'm flying my first class up in the sky.
My best bet of the day, Nathan MacKinnon. I just love Nathan MacKinnon over 4.5 shots in this one. It is a little juicy. I'm laying 60 cents for it, but it's the play of the day today. 8 shots on net on Wednesday. Through 4 final games, he has 8 shots, 6 shots, 3 shots, and 5 shots on goal. But he does have 104 shots on goal in 18 games throughout the playoffs. The next closest, Kucherov, with 69 shots on goal. That is like 35 shots less, and he's the second most It's just crazy. And he had 3 extra games, Kucherov did. Nathan McKinnon is going to be absolutely peppering Andrei Vasilevsky in this game. He's going to want a piece of the action before they raise the cup, and he's going to want his name on that stat sheet to be like, I scored a goal in the Stanley Cup final, game 5, when we won the final. He had 8 shots on net last game. He hasn't had his breakout game yet. This is the game that he's going to do it. He's going to get an anytime goal too, but that's not my best bet of the day. But I did get an anytime goal at plus 142. Nathan McKinnon over 4.5 shots, minus 160. Laying 60 cents for it as the Avs raise the cup and the Ice Queen makes her predictions, baby. Let's go Avs. Let's go.
Did you see
Avs.
who's in our chat this morning, by the way? Did you see Jack
that,
Harrison?
That was an unbiased bet for my friend Jack Harrison, who is in the chat. Right.
Unbiased.
Yeah. Unbiased.
As you wear your crown. Are you bringing the crown with you across the pond? Are you bringing you should bring the crown across the pond for luck.
Yeah, I should. Honestly, that would kind of be annoying carrying it, but honestly, got to risk it for the biscuit. Got to do it for something. You know what I mean? So we're ending the show on that note. The Avs are hoisting the cup tonight, guys. Make sure to lock it in. That's it for us today. I'll see you guys in a week. I'm out of town for the next week, but I'll be back after that. Jared's going to hold it down for us.
We love you.
Yeah.
Miss you already.
Let's get it. Let's bet it. Have a great weekend.